system of this show is Amber is doing her nails while we're supposed to be live on a show. She's also blocking the camera view.
You know what? I asked you if you were ready to go live.
I'm not actually ready to go live at all. My drinks are in the fridge and freezer still, but
by the way, we are live.
We are live, aren't we? We're also waiting on patrons. It's the Patron Hangout, where our patrons get to ask us questions, hang out with us, and chill out. Or we just kind of talk at you until they show up, and maybe we'll just answer people's questions in the meantime.
That's something.
That's something. If you want to join us on Patreon, check us out at patreon.com/marriedwithclicks. Our current goal right now is to hit $200 a month so that we, in addition to running our channel and providing a little bit for our fellas on the Metal Lab, we can put together a new format, a new tournament league, which will be very low, like free to store runners, and that will just be on top of your weekly tournaments. So we're not looking to extend beyond things. My concept right now is an all commons only format. And the idea that I'm sitting on right now is that you just take commons. That's what you're allowed to use for the tournaments. And then you announce that your tournament is an all common tournament. Then you submit your results and your store and all that kind of stuff to me by some kind of system that I'll figure out, because that's part of the funding. I'm not going to put something together for free. If you want to help us out with that, of course, patreon.com/marriedwithclicks. Yeah. Also, I guess it's time for me to cover an announcement I've recently made on the Facebook. And that is I, in the future, will be less available for cool things. Work is about to get very crazy going into the month of August, and maybe a little after that. It does depend on things. Not August, October. So as a result, my presence on the Metal Lab will be inconsistent. My presence at major tournaments will also be inconsistent. I think I will make day 2 of Canadian Nationals, which I'm already qualified for, and that's about it for Canadian Nationals. I wish I could get out to more, but work trumps all. Now, that doesn't mean we're going to stop our filmed content. It does not mean we're going to stop things like the Patron Hangout or or that league that I just talked about. That stuff I can do on a strange schedule with my evenings, etc. It's just that the Metal Lab runs at an hour that I may not be able to guarantee. So I'll probably be handing off hosting duties to Jay on that one. I guess that's... I mean, it's one of those things where it's getting to a really exciting time for the game, and it's time for us to buckle down at work. And once that smoke kind of clears out, I can open up my schedule a little bit more to my life for that. Amber, anything you want to mention as we go through?
I don't think so. Something just vibrated. No, I don't have anything to talk about.
Why not?
Because I don't.
How's the next casual quarter coming?
I have 2. I have one sitting on our channel that I have to unlock for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
And I have one already edited. Or not already edited, but already filmed. And I have a script in the works for a top 10 list.
Gosh, those are a lot harder to do than we gave them credit for.
Yeah. Actually, no, now that I've done one, like, major props to all the channels that do those, like, once a day.
Yeah. Places like, what is it, What Culture and Screw Attack. I mean, Screw Attack does it once a week, and I think that's insane.
Yeah. Honestly, no one, like, it's no real surprise that they get recycled content for the ones that do it once a day. Because you don't want it, like, there's probably, like, What Culture probably has one person there, and that's their entire job is just writing those scripts.
And then there's a couple people who are in charge of editing those videos.
Yeah. And a couple that are in charge of, like, that's why you don't get just one person doing the voice for those, because it takes a lot. It takes a lot to do those. I
guess today's peel back the curtain day until the patron joins us, eh?
But yeah, then I also have another idea for another episode that's in the works right now, and will go up once we get I guess once Xavier's school releases.
What are you up to? Are you going to do one tomorrow?
Yeah, actually, I am hoping to film some tomorrow while I do our pre-release.
Totally jealous of you. I can't make it out.
I'm sorry.
Well, it's not really your fault. I said you can go because I've been going to all the HeroClix tournaments lately and leaving you at home with the kids. So it's time for me to take my turn. It just happens to be a pre-release of an X-Men set. So, yeah. I mean, you're more of an X-Men fan than I am.
True. I will be a little more excited for all the characters. I actually have been reading. I went back and started reading the new X-Men once it got past Magneto turning into a Nazi and it not really being Magneto. Mm-hmm. I'm reading Academy X is the storyline with the New Mutants and the Hellions, which a whole lot of those characters are actually featured in this set, which I'm excited to see. Now that I've been reading the comics for it, I'm even more excited to pull the figures. And then I ended up stopping myself in the middle of it today to go back and read NYX, which deals with the early appearances of X-23 because she just started showing up in New X-Men, and there's a huge chunk of her storyline that I don't know how it fits together. Because originally when I was reading her books was when we had a scribed subscription, which wasn't as full as our Marvel Unlimited. So I don't know how many of her books I've actually read. Mm-hmm. So I don't know where her storyline actually meets up with her being introduced into comics and then Wolverine actually knowing her, because where I ended up leaving off in New X-Men, Wolverine's trying to convince her to come to the school. Apparently she had already tried that once, which wasn't in Grant Morrison's X-Men, so I don't know where that showed up. Then he's like, oh, they already know each other. I'm like, how did these two actually meet? I need to figure this out. So, comics.
Yeah. So how do you feel, Amber, right now about the hashtag Amber Lab?
Oh.
There's a movement right now.
No, don't make this a thing.
They want you instead to take over the hosting duties of the Metal Lab.
No.
Why not?
Because it's not something I don't feel that I could confidently do, because I don't pay attention to the strategy of the competitive play. I wouldn't know how to guide a conversation through it.
Amber, my job on the Metal Lab is a lot easier than you give it credit for. You tell Jay to shut up when he's talking too much. You tell PJ to shut up when he's talking too much. You tell Mike to shut up when they're talking too much, and you just correct them when they're wrong. And if you don't catch them when they're wrong, then whatever, the comments section will catch them when they're wrong. So, yeah, that's all it really takes, Amber.
Even that sounds complicated.
It's really not. Oh, and you also click on their faces when they start talking.
Yeah, we already know from previous experience with the Patron Hangout, I'm not good at that.
Well, I just have to. What's because you don't have to do it like I do on that. Although sometimes when Jay is talking, if he takes too long, I just click on myself and just spike the camera. It's another fun game I like to play. Man. So what else is going on behind the scenes here? You know what's gonna suck is this year, because I can't go to as many tournaments. I want to keep putting together B-roll of us going to tournaments, because I want to do a big video, like almost a movie documentary type style thing of us going to tournaments and our stories and our experiences and our stupid car fund for the tournaments.
Karaoke with Tom.
Karaoke with Tom is probably the most exciting part of any road trip, if you ask me. Like, road trips with Tom is the best. He likes to sing. I think we always have to listen to Lonely Island, though. We always have to listen to at least one Lonely Island beginning to end on the album.
Yeah.
And then we also get to listen to Tom's mixtapes or mix CDs, which
was it coming back from Montreal? I mean, you were.
Yeah, it was you and me with Tom on the way back from Montreal, when Montreal was where Worlds was, because we went down with our friend Marcus, who was going down for Dice Masters. We had planned on coming back down in another car, and we made our arrangements and everything like that. And so Marcus spiked out at Dice Masters a lot earlier than he had expected. And we ended up coming home with Tom. But everybody kind of sarcastically turned around and said, oh, enjoy car karaoke with Tom. Well, of course we did.
We're like, yeah, we will.
We.
I don't think you understand who you're talking to.
Yeah, of course.
here.
This was also before we had our official wedding. Like, Married with Clix started as common law with Clix, basically.
Yeah, true.
But then we actually had our full-blown wedding, and in lieu of a DJ, we had a karaoke DJ. A lot of traditional, like my dad and a friend of mine's wife were the only ones kind of like, no dancing. It's like, why didn't you just dance when people were singing?
Yeah.
But then, then you think about it like, well, nobody was really singing dancing songs when it comes down to it. So
true.
But this is the way we had fun. We're a bunch of nerds.
Yeah.
And that's just how it was a lot of fun.
So many people got into it too, and we got to hear Tom sing, which is always a bonus.
He's got some golden pipes.
Oh.
He sings as well as he talks, folks.
Yeah.
It's say the least.
Just gorgeous.
We
ended up having dancing at the end of the night, but it was just if you stayed long enough.
Yeah, exactly. Oh man, it was so much fun. I swear, I'm
most fun I've ever had sober.
Nathaniel's suggesting that you just destroy the meta.
Burn it to the ground.
Make a Seth Rollins, burn it down. But you gotta wear Seth Rollins tights while you do it. Those fire tights from. I'm drifting into my Royal Rumble podcast from Wednesday.
That's okay. I'll wear fiery tights.
I'll watch you wear fiery tights, to say the least. Yeah, so that's kind of an experiment. This is the Patron Hangout. We get to talk about whatever we want to talk about.
It's true.
Pull it back the curtains. Me and David Gosselman of Clixed Off have decided to go into an experimental wrestling podcast. Experimental. Yeah, I do it naked. I was actually pantsless the whole time. For one, it's my chance to try out new technology for streaming. This time, I in lieu of Google Hangouts, as we usually do, I decided I was going to try OBS in conjunction with Skype. It turned out pretty good. I was able to do some cool layouts and stuff. I think I want to try to do an opening screen and opening music. And then I got to figure out how to do it with 4 faces. I don't think I can do it with Skype, and that's the thing.
No,
I need a voice chat app that like puts everybody on screen equally. Why does this not exist? This is my problem in the world. You know what I mean?
How does Angry Chicken do it?
I don't know how the Angry Chicken does it, and I'm too afraid to.
I
should just tweet at Garrett.
How do you do this?
What magic are you working with Skype? But could just be because I'm on the Windows 10 Skype, and that's what it is. But I just whatever they're doing is pure wizardry. 1-900 Wrestling does it too. They've got them full screen. It's like, how are you doing this wizardry, man? Actually, I think in that one, because it's 2 heads to kind of do it like I did, where you put the Skype window to a certain size, and then you put the actual camera view in the preview there. And one guy actually, I really wish Dave could have seen my face, the faces I was making while we were doing it, because Skype wouldn't, share the camera with OBS. So, but yeah, it's my way of testing out new technologies. Because let's not kid ourselves, Google Hangouts it's like the Kinder Tots version of the stream your chat kind of thing, because everything's already together.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So I know we've tested things with Twitch and OBS, but we were still using Google Hangouts at the time because one of the beautiful things about Google Hangouts is because it's a browser-based voice chat app, all you have to do is click a link and you are ready to go in our chat.
Yeah.
So like when I get co-hosts, I don't need to say, hey, you need to download this app, then you need to have this, and then you need to have this. No, just you have a browser, you have a microphone, you have a camera, Google Hangouts, let's go. Nolan Lake is in there. Is anyone going to the pre-release tomorrow? If you were here earlier, Amber is going. I am not. I am babysitting. Well, I'm watching my own
babysitting.
Watching my own darn kids. I'm being sarcastic. So it was an interesting experiment for the first one, though choosing Royal, because we're planning on doing the entire week in review on a Wednesday, choosing the week of the Royal Rumble and NXT TakeOver and Raw and the SmackDown.
There's a lot for you guys to cover. A lot of
content, and we squeezed it into 2.5 hours. And when you think about how much wrestling we covered, it was 2 hours of NXT, it was 5 hours of the Royal Rumble, not including the kickoff shows.
Yeah.
7 hours just on the pay-per-views. Then there's the 3 hours of Raw and the 2 hours of SmackDown.
And I'm sure you guys could easily have done that 2.5 hours on like just NXT Takeover.
I tried not to.
Yeah.
I tried not to. Oh man. Somehow we've drifted in wrestling talk. I started it. I started it by talking about the fact that I'm experimenting with another podcast. So working with David Gossman has been a bit of a treat. And I'm hoping that we can actually pull that into something, because wrestling is popular. It's more popular than HeroClix. I have been twisting around a new way of being Jason, as far as HeroClix is concerned.
That's concerning me.
What do you mean it's concerning you?
I don't know.
You saw the first version of it on last Saturday. Because I played the first version, the first iteration.
Oh, okay. The team.
The team I played on Saturday was version 1.0 of my idea here, and it was Hades from Superman Wonder Woman, along with the Black Panther from Avengers Defenders War, the super rare one, and the Daredevil Chase from Avengers Defenders War, and a Groot, 20-point Groot. This is a 400-point team. It's not limited because Groot, but I kind of want to pull this into limited or in some way, shape, or form. The idea, of course, is Black Panther makes full characters. Daredevil makes full characters. They go forward. You're going to kill them because you want to kill them. Then you kill them, and then I create tokens next to Hades, who are now another problem of yours. And because they're making full characters, it does trigger the POG creation on Hades. In order to shrink this down, I'm attempting to use Hela to make warrior souls, because hers works the same way. I was going to try Valkyrie. I was going to try Pluto and a bunch of things. Valkyrie had like 4 qualifiers, and then Pluto had a character had to be at least 50 points. So neither of them were compatible with the strategy I was using. And now this does still leave me with, I think it was this version of it leaves me with 10 points on the, it was 100 and, yeah, it left me 5 points for the 300-point version. You know who makes characters in his 5 points, Amber? A Tribble. Include a Tribble, then you get more Tribbles, and then more Tribbles, and then you got the trouble with Tribbles. And the Tribbles can be carried by like a hand ninja.
It's like I said, I loved your team, but I hated playing against it.
Oh, of course, because here's the thing though, is for the mental game against players who are playing against it, they now get to score off.
Yeah.
Not all the time, because Warrior Souls, I believe, are like 0 points or something like that. They might be worth something. I don't know.
I don't think.
But they also have like phasing and super senses and blades, so they're a little bit more tough to kill, if you ask me, than the Suffering Souls. They have shape change, but they don't do as much damage. They're more incapacitate. And there are the heroic souls, but like to kill a thing to get a heroic soul,
yeah.
You're already kind of winning. So.
Sure.
The Warrior Souls, I think, will be enough, and the Hela will be enough, in my opinion, to make this.
The only thing about your thing is that you want to make the characters stop creating other characters, but to get to them, you have to get through these swarms of the other characters,
which cost actions, and then they capitalize on it. And Black Panther makes Wakandan warriors who, if they're near Black Panther, get precision strike, +1 attack, just in general, and willpower.
And like a lot of these are like one-hit characters, so it's like, okay, but it also feels like a wasted attack, because you're like, all right, well, I just spent an action to kill this thing, but it just spawned another thing over there, and it's pretty much just going to come back next turn anyways, and I'm like, I needed to use that action to get rid of this thing, so I'm not anywhere closer to where I wanted to be.
And that is the goal. Also, in this iteration, it's a limited team, and 400 points limited is also an option. So, do you know who else barfs out tokens for an additional less than 100 points? Belphegor!
Yes, oh my gosh, yes, the demons. Oh,
demons!
The demons!
Yep.
This is, you know what this is? This is the modern mutation of your Jamie Madrox team.
Absolutely, it's a modern mutation of my This is everything I wanted my Jamie Madrox figure factory to do. Like, this is everything I wanted that monstrosity to become.
Oh my gosh. I remember when you were taking down team bases with that team.
Everybody remembers when I was taking
Jamie
down team
Madrox
bases.
taking down team bases.
It's only because I had Flurry and multiples and powers and Alyosha Craven to help him. And
fantastic.
And Phantomex. Phantomex was on that team too.
Yeah.
Because I was like, who makes characters? And back then, I think I was able to get Alyosha Craven, Phantomex, Jamie Madrox, and Multiple Man. I think it was actually what it was called, Wolverine and the X-Men, and Falcon and Squirrel Girl were this team. It was like a 500-point team, and
that was the Falcon and Squirrel Girl where the characters came off their actual pieces.
Yes, yeah. And I called this the figure, like, this was Figure Factory Beta 0.9.
Yeah.
I am now on version 7.0, and it's beyond poisonous.
It's mutated.
It is
so much. Stop.
It's pure
feeding him.
Feed me more. Are you kidding me? Let me do this. Let me be the Zergling master.
I do also love that HeroClix has kind of just facilitated this happening.
You cannot make a strategy game, then invite a StarCraft player to play it, and not expect him to lose his mind when you start letting him Zergling rush people. It's just not allowed. You cannot allow this to happen. I need this. This is the thing that needs to happen for me. That is all. Plain and simple. It's also the next art. It's actually a little bit of a peek into the brain of mine. Going into my next article for Pat, because I'm working on my limited progress with him, and my modern progress I've been working on with the Metal Fix. And I think Lucas in the Discord put me on the right direction and said, drop the Superman ID, replace that with the Shield level 7, and then my real boy ID is going to be Superman. Or not Superman, Lex Luthor. So that... Yeah. So I get 250-point Lex out, and he masterminds. To whatever bystanders might still be standing at that point in the game. I kind of have to relook at the points again, see where it stands, because there could be the possibility of getting a triple in there.
Tribbles.
Though at the same time, if my non-resource Figure Factory team is able to go to town with this one, I don't know, man. I don't know. This is the mind of a madman just spewing out right now. What's that?
You are a madman.
I'm being facilitated with my madness.
Yeah.
I'm a chemist. It's alive. So what have you been thinking X-Men wise, Amber? Have you seen anything that makes you go, ah?
I don't know. See, my problem with it is like I've been so casual based lately that I'm like, I want to put together the Hellions and make them work. And I want to put together the New Mutants and make them all work together. And I want to have the Cuckoos together at one point. And I'm just like, there are so many fun teams that can be made out of this set, and I want to play them all. But when it comes down to actual, like, I don't know, competitive play, nothing has really jumped out at me. Like, I do kind of want to try and make the Headmaster Wolverine work, but he's too many points at his high point, and his low point is just kind of meh.
Although on the plus, on one hand, you could use him, get your free all new Wolverine call in with the student ID card, and then you can call in Jonathan.
And just wreck faces with Jonathan.
I think that special ability of his, I don't know if the special ability is his or if it's all new Wolverines. The one where it's like, in the first time he would die, instead he doesn't.
That's actually, because I think that's part of the power that brings him in.
Yeah. So,
So I don't know if that would stick around.
You'd get Jonathan Wolverine for a turn at least.
Yeah.
Mm.
Well, until somebody decided to kill him.
It's only a 3-point card, you say.
It's true.
Wow, we're just kind of trying to hold this up here on our own.
Yeah.
We're running out of things to talk about. We got to hold the ground for Mike, because Mike will want to join the show. I want to get all in on that, and he always has a stack of questions for us. So WKO's around the corner.
Yeah. Do you think we're set up for X-Men for Sealed for that?
Well, they're March.
So yes.
Yes. If they release a set in March that's worthy of Sealed, that's when I'm going to start to complain about too many releases.
Fair.
I think in March at best we're going to get Ninja Turtles.
Yeah, no, I think that got pushed to April.
Did I get pushed to April? Even better.
Maybe.
I do kind of want to get those Pixel Turtles, though. They look pretty cool.
They are. And, okay, like, I'm so confused about everybody being like, well, they're not based on the video games. Like, they're 8-bit. How are they not based on the video games?
Yeah.
Like, I'm so confused
by
that.
Here's the problem is, because it doesn't look exactly like the Konami game or Konami games, because those original two were Konami, people are a little bit hesitant. But at the same time, you have to make a figure that makes sense as far as stability in a brand new style. And this 8-bit style is new to HeroClix. We've never seen anything like this in HeroClix. And I think they're taking kind of a safe route. They're going, what they did is exactly what Konami did, and put 8-bit Ninja Turtles on a base. That's what they did. They just put blocky, how they saw a Ninja Turtle. Because another thing people have to remember is that the Ninja Turtles arcade game was just a reskinning of the X-Men engine with, a level changes. Like, it's the exact same game. You can strip it down all you want. They're the exact same game.
That actually brings up a really interesting train of thought, because with them being not exact, like, because people have screen capped the games and be like, look, it's not this game, it's not this game, it's not this game. Like, okay, but also, just because WizKids has the rights to Ninja Turtles doesn't mean they have the rights to copy that game.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, because that's Konami property, technically.
Yeah. So they might not actually even be allowed to make an exact 8-bit or 16-bit version of the Ninja Turtles, because that specific depiction of them is still held, the rights to it are still held by another company.
There's also been all kinds of silly side things done with Ninja Turtles and Ninja Turtle comics. There's been like the Funko comic of Ninja Turtles. Like, how does that make any sense, right? So now all of a sudden are we gonna see Funko Pop HeroClix? Who knows? Yeah. Let them have a little bit of fun with the product as it is. There's been enough Ninja Turtles games at this point, for me, that just because they don't specifically match something that exists doesn't make them bad or ugly or anything like that. It just makes it their own thing. Video gamey Turtles. Video gamey Turtles exist in some way, shape, or form. That's okay. It's okay, guys.
Hey, if we end up getting Ninja Turtle sets long enough, we might end up getting this Rise of the Ninja Turtles style in HeroClix.
No. Who's in charge of this? Who is in charge? How do 4 brothers become 4 different species of turtle?
Don't forget their magical glowing weapons that don't match their original traditional weapons.
How about the gerbil taking a dump that they're gonna call Splinter? Like, that gerbil looks like he was part of something on like he's seen something. Like, that gerbil has seen the paper towel tube of Mr. Slave. Like, jeez, who's in charge? Oh, like I understand they want to be different, they want to be cool and everything like that, but the turtles have always been brothers. How are 4 different species of turtles brothers? Okay, so now they're adopted brothers I have to buy. I don't know if I'm going to buy the sibling infighting on that, and anyway, right? I've got 1,000 gripes to deal with this, the way they look. You got Donatello, who looks like Solid Snake. I mean,
but Raph is the leader, and he's a snapping turtle now.
Wait, Raph is the leader?
Yeah.
Leonardo's supposed to be the bad leader.
Oh yeah, and he does. What is he using now? Tonfas?
Yeah, those nightstick type things.
Yeah. No, he's the leader now, and apparently Leonardo's cool.
You know what? You know what this turtle deserves? Raphael's original weapon, size.
Oh.
Because that's all. Honestly, I'm going to give the show a chance because I do that. I'm just already angry at the character design.
I want to go back and find that like little webisode or whatever show it was that the kids' toys are based off of.
What, you mean the one where they went back to the past? And
yeah, they like made friends with dinosaurs.
I'd watch a whole season of that because they all look similar. They all look like turtles. Yeah. The same turtles. I don't know. I mean, I'm probably being too strict. If Eastman's letting this go, it's okay. The hashtag AmberLab continues.
No, stop. You guys don't want to see this. I promise you.
Yeah. Thanks for just derailing me and making me angry. God damn it. Oh, jeez, Louise.
I needed to get you to tangent something.
Why did you need to? But why did you need to do it by boiling my blood? You know what I mean?
It was easy.
Why didn't you just bring out a plate of fries for me to salt all over? Instead, I salted all over the internet and the few people who are watching. Jason rants. Welcome to the Patron Hangout, which is just Jason ranting.
But how much he hates the new Ninja Turtles?
Just the way they look. I can't outright say I hate the Ninja Turtles new cartoon because I haven't watched it yet. Nobody's watched it. Sure. I do not like the character design, but I was also hesitant about the character design on the new DuckTales, and I love the new DuckTales.
It's true.
So, I mean, okay, granted, at first I was hesitant on the art style. Then I heard David Tennant was Uncle Scrooge. Then I was back in. You know,
I have to watch more of that show.
At first, he was my favorite Doctor Who, even though at first I was on him. The first couple episodes I was kind of on him because I was a big fan of Eccleston.
But also the first few episodes were really bad.
They weren't very good. But then we got to see him grow as the Doctor that he would become, which is just the observant Doctor. Like he's literally just kind of like.
Then I also
things are blowing up around me. Cool.
I also have the unpopular opinion that I hated him with Rose, and I was so much happier when he was with either Martha or Donna. I thought those were much more interesting episodes.
Rose was carryover from Eccleston.
Yeah.
So
But then they were just like, oh, well, David Tennant's attractive, so now Rose is going to be attracted to the Doctor, and now it's going to be this whole love thing.
Eccleston's attractive.
I think he is. But apparently David Tennant is more attractive, so then they're like, let's go the romance angle. And it's like, no, stop forcing this. Which is why I liked Martha and Donna better, because they were more his equals rather than his romantic interests.
Yeah. What else was there about him? No, I had something else and then I got derailed because they're still talking about the Ninja Turtles in there. My blood is starting to boil up again.
I'll bring it back down with David Tennant.
You know what? You know what also made me really like David Tennant? Was Matt Smith. I hated him.
Why did that go for so long?
No, it's because people liked him. So my question is, what is wrong with all of you?
Why did anyone like him?
He was so dopey. I feel like he wasn't the Doctor character, but that's probably my purism. You know, it's like the Doctor's supposed to be clever. He was dopey, and he was Deus Ex Smartica. He was only smart when it counted, and it's like, well, no, Doctor Who is supposed to be generally pretty smart, and if something is a problem, it's basically I felt like everything was a problem until he was smart again.
Yeah.
In every episode, and it's like
And Amy sucked.
Amy Pond? Yeah, but Rory was awesome.
But I only kept watching the show because of Rory. Literally the only reason I watched all of those episodes.
And it did give Karen Gillan a chance to shine, and then we got her in both Guardians of the Galaxy, and apparently the biggest selling Jumanji movie ever created.
Yeah.
I think whoever advertised the new Jumanji should be slapped because everybody loves this movie, and I didn't want to see it because of the advertising.
Yeah, they didn't. I don't think they advertised it the way they should have.
Also, though, I feel the same. Like it depends on how the next Pacific Rim movie goes, because I might be either saying the same thing or just wanting to go slap the director in the first place. It depends.
Yeah.
Like I'm going to watch that because I loved the first one so much. I think I've seen. I'm pretty much I'm convinced that I'm going to be the first person that wears out a digital copy of a movie.
Yeah.
iTunes is going to be like, you've seen this enough.
No,
Stop.
you're going to end up getting like Twitter being like, hey, Jason, we realized that you've watched this movie 1,522 times. Are you okay?
the Netflix warning him, are you still alive?
No. Do you hear that thing about Netflix actually tweeting out, being like, to the person that's watched this holiday movie for 18 days straight?
No, it was Return of the King.
Was it Return of the King?
It was Return of the King they watched like 18 days straight.
Because they're like, are you okay? Who hurt you?
Who hurt you? It's just a Return of the King. They just really liked it.
Yeah.
Like they eventually found the person.
Well, it's also one of those things is like it's the white noise effect too, because especially with Netflix will just shut itself off after a certain point, is that you turn on something and then you go to bed. You're not even actually watching it.
Yep.
As a teenager, my white noise movie was the Resident Evil movie. Every night before I went to bed, I turned on the Resident Evil movie. I went to bed.
In my early 20s, because I was a chef, it was Chasing Amy. I'd always fall asleep right after the big racist rant about the Star Wars trilogy. Like right after he screams white or black rage. And I'm like,
Black rage. Damn near piss my pants.
Yeah, it's about there where it's just like, and I'm done with the movie. I'm okay. What's a newbie and bitch almost made me laugh. What are you talking about? You didn't come here to scream black rage. I almost pissed myself.
Oh my
god. Good movie. Anyway, yeah. So I think that's what kept me all riled up and able to stand in the kitchen. Was just like I went to sleep to the rantings of a man angry at the racism of the Star Wars trilogy. It kept me at my rage level that was required to be a chef. That's right. I used to be a chef at one point in my life. Oh boy, screw you, Gordon Ramsay, for making that job miserable. What else is up in the world with us? I know I've been working a lot. Extra podcasts. I talked about that. I'm starting to purge now. The Golden Age purge has begun.
I'm starting to look at that too, where I'm just like, oh, this is going golden soon. What am I going to want from this? Nothing. All right. Sell it off.
Yeah, I'm kind of giving Amber that ultimatum. It's like time to get together what you want to keep golden.
Yeah.
I think right now the only thing I'm looking at keeping is Red Lantern Supergirl.
Yeah.
That's about it, because I like my Red Lanterns. They're so angry. Because I can't think of anything else I'd want to.
Other than like all of the Ninja Turtles.
That's right. Ninja Turtles is gonna rotate. Ninja Turtles 1.
Possibly. No, I don't think Ninja Turtles 2.
2. No. Nothing with a card dial on back of card is gonna be rotating. Absolutely none of that is rotating. Like
Did Ninja Turtles 2 end up in that, or was that before?
Turtles was post dial on card.
Okay.
Turtles 1 was the last, was the only of the Turtle set to have no dial on card at all. That was one thing. I'm kind of glad they went from their original plan to put it on the front of the card to the back of the card.
I'm so glad they listened to that.
Yeah. I mean, I've never seen the HeroClix community so, ultimately, people...
That's when everybody really rallied.
Yeah.
There were petitions. There was just no, we need this to not happen. Me and you did an emergency broadcast.
Yeah.
We're if this is the idea, this is the format that you're going with, okay, but don't put it on the front of the card.
Well, they ended up putting it on the back of the card. We were like, okay, that's fine.
All right, we accept this compromise.
It's a compromise. They wanted the dial on the card, cool.
Yeah.
All right. You want to put it on the back of the card? Whatever. But putting it on the front of the card, and for one, it made it look ugly.
Yeah, it just was. It was not aesthetically pleasing.
No. So that was.
Although it's funny now, I look back at the old cards because I'm horrible for looking at the back of the card for powers. So I look back at the old cards and I was like, oh, I really don't like this design anymore.
I do this thing nowadays when I look at a person's card, if they don't have like the cut back sleeves on them, I slide it across the table on its front and just put my hands to the side and then slide it back to them very carefully. Because you're allowed to look at the front of the card.
Yeah.
See wordings and stuff.
And all the information is there. So when it comes down to it, like other than your own personal planning, you don't really need to know the standard powers. Like it's the written powers that you really, really need to know the wording of.
I saw so Joe Fisher asked, did we see the Transformers Hero Clix? I think they're made special for something. This is one of those things, passion projects, people's projects tend to make their way around the internet, and they're often neato. And I do appreciate, like, as a former Warhammer player, I really appreciate modification, personal work, and all that kind of stuff is really cool. I just don't have the time for it myself.
For those that are interested, track down the episode of Indomitable that they were featured on.
Yeah.
Because they were given to Hyper RPG.
Yeah. So
as a kind of, hey, this is cool. Check out my cool works.
Check out my stuff. I like it as well when people kind of take an idea that is that's functional for another character and, you know, make it work that way. There's a story from back in one of the World's Championships where a guy had took a utility belt dial and put Hawkeye's quiver on it, and then said, "Is it okay if I use Hawkeye's quiver on this, but I also have this utility belt just in case?" And they're like, "Yeah, you can use that. If anybody asks, you use the other one, but they're a jerk." Because that's cool. That kind of stuff is neat. Oh, so
yeah, that's one thing with customs. Where if you're going to a big tournament or whatever, if you have a custom, a lot of the times people are cool with customs, but as part of the rules, you do have to have the original figure in case your opponent's like, no, I don't want you using that custom, use the original figure. Part of that is there's a very big sort of mental game with sculpt swapping, where if you have a certain, like if you put, say, KC Superman on like one of the shifting focus Superman dials. If I'm looking across the board and I'm seeing KC Superman, it's in my head that that's KC Superman because we have sculpts that are attached to dials. And then when you get up there and you're like, oh, that's not the giant threat I thought it was. I mean, like, obviously, yes, you can look at the dial, look at the name, look at the stats. You're always free to do that. But just as a cursory glance, because we are essentially taught to associate sculpts with dials, you're thinking that it's something completely else. Now, if it's something that's obviously been made, hacked apart, repainted, or even some like a Lego figure put on, that you know it's something completely different. But it's mostly with the sculpt swapping that that it becomes a problem because you're associating that sculpt with a completely different dial, and I have no idea what's going on behind me.
Today's Groundhog Day, right?
Yes.
Okay. So regardless of how the groundhog, whether or not they saw their shadow or whatnot, there's different groundhogs. We have Wyerton Willie here, and the States has Puxatawny Phil.
Puxatawny Phil like died 2 years ago?
It's like Puxatawny Phil the 15th or something like that. Come on now. Anyway, apparently the story right now is Wyerton Willie has become a little cannibalistic and ate future Willies, as it were.
Well then.
Ate his children.
Yeah, animals will do that.
I thought we were just heels in pro wrestling and Canadian geese.
Apparently we're also cannibalistic groundhogs.
That's what we have. You know, after a while, I think I'd be pretty tired of just being relied upon. Brought out once a year to look at my shadow.
Like, why is everybody touching? Why is all these people here? Leave me alone.
Oh my God, who cares about my shadow? Oh, kids.
It's actually one of those weird things with like animals is that it usually means either there's something wrong with the parent or there was something wrong with the children. Where animals will they're like, oh, this is the runt of their family, let's eat it because it's not gonna live well.
But what about all of them?
Well, then there's usually something wrong with the parent.
Wyerton Willie is a crazy man. First of all, he lives in Wyerton. Just a quick thought in what? Don't whoever Kebab Entertainment is, I have no idea what you're talking about. Nolan Lake wants to know if he could split the fee for the pre-release tournament with a friend and play with them. Talk to Aiden. He's the running the tournament. We are not.
Yeah,
Amber
we're
is
just
playing.
going. We're just going. We're not actually running it this time.
Yeah. So
we have actually, unfortunately, kind of stepped back on running things at our local tournament because we have not been reliable enough to make it out to our tournament to run events.
I cannot be relied upon anymore. Should actually show Aiden the Rock webpage so that our guys running the store can stop using me as a go-between on that. Oh. I'm staring at the screen right now like I have something to say. And that is a dirty, rotten lie.
Oh, no.
I have nothing. I'm running out of things to say. My video game list is coming along. Really got to start the Evil Within, though, to get the flow back on that one.
I'm still playing South Park.
Such a good game.
I'm enjoying it.
It's a fractured but whole.
I am enjoying it.
It is so much
Although
fun.
it's got me to go back and start watching South Park again because I don't, you know what? I've actually got to the point where I don't even know where I left off in the series anymore because I distinctly remember season 6 and all of the episode or half the episodes, and then I started watching it again and I'm like, oh no, I have seen these. And then, or there'll be an episode where I don't remember this until it gets to the very end and I'm like, oh, now I remember this. And now I'm in the middle of season 7. And I'm like, I still don't really know what I'm doing. I have no idea how far I've actually gotten into the series because I stopped actively watching it.
What happened to all of our South Park seasons?
I don't know. I feel like we sold them to someone.
Did we sell them? Is that something I would do?
We sold off a lot of our DVDs at one point. Because we had the first 5 or 6 seasons.
Yeah. Remember when we had the season?
Remember when we had South Park?
Hey guys, remember South Park? Oh.
I remember.
Oh, comics. Okay. All right. Sorry, I was just staring at the chat for a minute to see if they had anything interesting. I swear, we're trying to hold ground for Mr. Michael. Poor guy is.
I'm glad that you guys are actively watching us struggle through
entertain while we wait for one patron. Oh.
We're literally talking about anything that pops up.
I don't know. I started with trying to get information out of Amber, and she gave me a little bit, but she can't seem to guide me in the conversation.
This is why you don't want me on MetaLab.
Oh, but you'll have notes. You'll have show notes. I promise. From MetaLab. We didn't come with show notes because we were expecting show notes from our patrons. We even told them about this early this time. I think we told them about this last week.
Yeah.
Or earlier this week. Something. I don't know.
Something. We mentioned it at some point in another, and then we forgot. We're good like that.
Wow. So what else is Hero Clix up? This year so Avengers Infinity. Let's talk about that and how people seem to be outraged with the price increase and don't seem to understand the reasoning.
I want those boosters in hand to know how they're I'm trying to map out in my head because they're extra wide. So what I'm thinking is that they're going to be similar to how we have our super boosters now. I don't think they're going to be as big as the super boosters. I think they're going to be a little smaller. But I think that it's going to be set up as an insert you pull out like the super boosters were. And the 2x2 base, the bigger figure, This is going to be off to the side, and then there's going to be slots for the other 4 figures. So it'll be like 4 figures set up, and then a giant one next to them in like an insert.
Yeah.
In the big booster.
That's the thing. There's one big, massive piece of plastic. The cost is massively increasing for this set, and it's like we have to eat that cost.
And when it comes down to it, it's not that much more. Like maybe we're just getting really boned in the fact that we have a bad exchange rate and we're already paying pretty high for boosters, that it's not making a big deal to us. Like what is it more like
you're never
$3 more a booster?
Amber. Miniature games. They're expensive.
No.
Did you know that, Amber?
I don't believe you.
Look at it.
I don't
any other miniature game, man. They're expensive.
Well, when it comes down to it, HeroClix is still the cheapest.
It is still the cheapest miniatures game out there. The only thing that keeps it expensive is how frequently we have to purchase the product in order to keep up.
Yeah.
Which is shameful. Shameful.
Remember when we first started and I remember and like a HeroClix set came out like twice a year.
Yep. And remember when those cases used to cost $300 because there was 48 packs in a case?
Yeah. I never used to buy. Remember when bricks weren't a thing and then they got introduced?
Bricks were first introduced. It was like, wait, so all they did was take like 12 of the packs and wrap them in plastic? Why is... Whatever. Remember?
I remember. We're having our own little member berry fest here.
Also remember when you had to... In order to get the buy it by the brick figure, you had to take the piece of paper that came with the sealed brick. You had to take 10 box toppers off. Yeah. Then you had to send a piece of paper with your credit card information to his kids.
I don't remember having to send credit card information. I wasn't young enough to have it, or was it young enough?
That's why none of us got the buy it by the brick. None of us were like, we're not putting our credit card.
But I got the crypto.
Because your boyfriend at the time used his credit card, his mom's credit card.
Mark didn't have a credit card at the time. Are you kidding me? Man's not that responsible.
Oh, maybe he didn't. Maybe I remember somehow it was like somebody used a credit card for multiple envelopes and we all paid him or something like that.
Yeah, because the crypto I have is a buy it by the brick.
Mm-hmm.
And I got totally hosed on that trivia answer when I did the Clix off Jeopardy, because they asked what was the original or what was the first buy it by the brick figure, and I said crypto, because that was the first one that you had to buy a brick and rip off all the tops and hand it in.
Yeah, because collateral damage was the first set with bricks.
But apparently before that, there was a buy-in incentive Jean Grey Phoenix that is listed on HC Realm as a buy it by the brick figure.
Don't believe everything HC Realm says, man.
I know, and that's the thing. I'm like, that's wrong. And I'm right on that answer. And they're like, nope, sorry, it's wrong.
It's the moops.
They're like, nope, this is the right answer. I'm like, no, it's not. I'm like, I shouldn't have lost that game because that was the right answer.
You know, when your trivia is based on a singular website that is not actually operated by the company that runs the product.
The problem is that they found like a Game Trade magazine promo for it, and the wording on the promo was buy the brick and get the Jean Grey. I'm like, that's not a buy it by the brick figure.
Yeah.
That doesn't count.
Yeah, because sealed actual bricks didn't occur until collateral damage.
Yeah.
Like that's when you started getting 4 sealed bricks in a case.
It's like, yes, the Jean Grey Phoenix, because the Dark Phoenix was a convention exclusive. The Jean Grey Phoenix was a buy-in exclusive. You had to mail that in. But it wasn't a buy it by the brick figure.
I also feel like that came out after the crypto anyway.
I think it beats it by like a month or something.
I don't know. You got to talk, Amber, because I'm Googling right now.
I went off. I just talked on my whole rant about how I lost on this trivia with wrong information. Also, talking's hard right now.
All of this is a disaster. everything about this gigantic disaster.
Oh my gosh.
What's going on over there?
What was the most exciting thing you ever pulled from a booster? Mine was Cosmic Spider-Man from the What If set. Oh my gosh, we have a patron!
Hey, Mike's here. But what was your hype figure?
I don't know. I was pretty excited that we ended up pulling that Earth 2 Superman.
You couldn't have been. I sold it before you could even see it. I'm sorry. Are you still angry about that, Amber? Perhaps we should regale you with the tale of the Phantom Menace again. Is that what we should do? We went to a store. I bought a couple packs of the Crisis set? Pulled an Earth 2 Superman just by accident. I sold it to my buddy Ryan because he offered an entire brick's worth of figures for it, and I was like, sure, I'll take a brick for it. Why not? Right? That's what you're so salty about? Okay? Because here's where my story is now. This one here, Star Wars fan. This guy Ryan, also a Star Wars fan. Our friend Joel, all three of them Star Wars fans. Guys, you know what's coming out in 3D? The Phantom Menace.
You know that our two biggest.
Want to go watch the Phantom Menace, guys? Sure. You know what? Amber and I are in the early stages of dating. I've been at work all day, but I'm getting off before 8 for once in my life. Sure, why not? I'll chug 8 Red Bulls and I'll make it through this crap movie, even though I think it's trash. I didn't want to go see the movie, but I wanted to get in Amber's pants anyway. So we go to this movie. I'm already pissed that I had to pay extra for 3D on a movie I hate. We get into the theater, and I think we get about halfway through the worst Star Wars movie ever created. That's right, The Phantom Menace, in 3D nonetheless, where you see the 3D maybe twice in the movie the entire time. God, I was wearing the glasses, not going to lie. I turned to my left, my buddy Ryan and Joel, asleep. I turned to my right, Amber, asleep. Only guy who didn't want to go see the movie. Wide awake, jacked up on Red Bull. Angry. So yes, Amber, I sold the Earth 2 Superman. I got money.
I also want to point out the fact that both of those stories involve Ryan.
Of course they involve Ryan. All of our stories involve Ryan in some way, shape, or form.
Now I just know it's Ryan's fault.
All right, welcome, Mike, to the chat. I'm gonna go grab another beer because I'm very thirsty.
I'm sorry, you guys have to hear me dying.
What in the world did I just walk into?
Us going stark raving mad.
Oh my goodness! Happy Groundhog Day, everybody, or at least that's when we're taping it.
Happy Cannibalistic Mammal Day.
Exactly. Alrighty, so let's do this with, I guess, playing off of the last week. We talked a little bit about the value of, like clicks per, points and stuff like that. And in regards to the new X-Men set that everybody wants to talk about now, I noticed that a couple of them are, you can play at 50 points, but you only get 3 clicks out of them. There's a Professor X and there's a Cyclops in there as well, like that. Can you tell me what is 50 points too much for just 3 clicks of a character, or should we look somewhere else and get 3 clicks out of maybe a 15-point character?
Well, here comes the tricky part of those, especially those 3 specific figures. It's the Cyclops, the Wolverine, and the Professor X, correct? Mm-hmm. Okay. So those 50-point dials aren't just the 3-click dials. They're also a student ID card. They're also perplexed for a specific card, and they're also traded leadership. So grand scale, for 50 points, you're getting an extra action on your team. If you have a shared keyword in an X-Men set, you're getting perplexed. And you're getting a call-in for free, which would normally cost 3 points, though. So you're saving 3 on that. In addition to which, the Wolverine has a stop click on his last click, and stop clicks are valued a little high. Cyclops, I can't explain, but Cyclops is trash, and I'll never like him anyway. And And Professor X, I think, comes with mind control, and mind control could take a 50-point character, attack a 300-point character, and turn that 300-point character on your opponent. And I mean, I'm exaggerating, of course. Like, let's say we're talking about a 300-point sealed right now, because that's really the only environment we're all playing with these X-Men figures. But I take like a 150-point character and I turn it on my opponent's team, and they're angry now at me, to say the least. So it's a matter of measuring the value that you see in that 50 points and managing the value. Value per points is, for HeroClix, not an easy task. You have to look at the girth of click, the start of the clicks, the start of the dial, where they stand, how much range they have, what their special powers are, what their special powers do, how many stop clicks they have, how much healing they do, what traits they have. All these things have to factor in to what are you going to do with this character. And that's really why, in the grand scale of it, it's difficult to say, yeah, the Wolverine is trash at 50. He's not great at 50, but if you can get 50 points worth of kills out of that Wolverine, worth it. You know what I mean? And that's where cost projection comes. I'm actually doing an episode pretty soon of Metafix in the form of financial planning in HeroClix. And that is financial planning in the game of HeroClix. Not financial planning as far as buying your figures, but financial planning as far as measuring your cost analysis on a figure versus, you know, the profits you're going to get off of them. It's going to be silly. It's going to be fun, and I can't wait to do it. But the grand scale of it is you're looking to try to profit off that 50 points, and if you can profit off that 50 points, great. And part of the profit on these 50 points is the free 3 points and the fact that there's some traits that go through the dial. Amber, anything you want to add there?
No, I think it's just the fact that when you're looking at these guys who have the great big dials and then the small pre-click 50-point dials versus someone who is just 50 points and they've got like 5 or 6 clicks, a lot of it is just valuing what those 3 clicks have. As Jason was saying, like if you look at the powers on them, look at the traits those characters have, what those characters are doing beyond just saying they're 3 clicks, it kind of, some of them may not seem like they're worth it. They may not be. Some of them may be worth it, but when it comes down to the balance of the game, it's all based on all of this extra things that these guys are doing. Because sure, you can have, say, a mercenary for 15 points. 15
points for mercenary.
15 points, 3 clicks, fantastic first click, but you're also not getting any traits with that. You're not getting any special powers. And sorry, the only trait that mercenary has is that if she's the only person left in your team, you fail.
She won't be the last man standing.
Yeah. So, and that's more of that actually, because she has that one trait, she's actually less points than she would have been. But yeah, so it's you can't just look at clicks versus points. You have to look at what those clicks are doing for those points.
Yeah. And that's like when you look at those 50-point characters, don't look at per click analysis at that point. Look at full trait, the traits in the case and what you're getting out of the full click. So for 50 points with less powers and stats, would you be willing to put leadership and full dial perplex on a 3-click character, even though that perplex is a little limited, as well as bringing in a free student ID card? And the answer should be yes, yes, and yes for 50 points. Yeah. So anything extra on top of like a blank dial on that is actually pretty bonus worthy, in my opinion.
Alrighty. So anyone else, like, we gonna go somewhere else, or?
Oh, it's just you, man.
It's just you.
It's such okay. Alrighty. Hopefully I didn't keep you running too long or waiting around for too long. All right. So another thing too is congratulations on getting featured on HC Realms. That was I saw you guys up there. Pretty cool. All right. So all right. I wish I knew that you didn't like Cyclops all that much before. Of course, I come prepared and like get all my list of questions. The first question I had was like in the new X-Men set. What is the best Jean Scott combo? So of course you bring in Gene to I guess TK, a good character. Like I'd say, if you have a team with both Scott and Gene on it, what might be the two best pieces for to TK Scott around the map.
In my defense, before we get into the HeroClix value of it, my issues with Scott Summers are very personal. I hate Scott Summers, but the HeroClix named Cyclops I can deal with so long as he's doing his job. I will, though, if there's a Cyclops that's bad, add in my personal bias against Cyclops to my collection of salt. So don't think I hate all Cyclops figures. I will use a Cyclops. I've been beaten by enough Cyclops figures to know that he's a good figure. Cyclops, when it comes to the game of HeroClix, is the first and in all cases definite glass cannon. And for those of you unfamiliar with the terminology, I'll go way back in the day. This phrase was coined back when Dungeons and Dragons and RPGs were just like pen and paper. So this phrase predates video games. This phrase predates everything as far as our gaming is concerned. And when we refer to a glass cannon, we're talking about something that shoots so hard, but it just takes a little, and it's broken. So Cyclops, in all definitions, is a glass cannon. That doesn't mean Cyclops is necessarily terrible because he's got a lot of range. His cannonness is hard to get back at. If I was to combine a Jean Grey and a Scott Summers, or a Cyclops and Jean Grey in this set specifically, I like the first class one for its potential, though it does have to hit in order to work, because that first class trait has to be triggered on a hit in order to get the extra damage on it. Cool. I do like him with the Chase Jean Grey, the Age of Apocalypse Jean Grey, because you get TK and TK for free for 3 squares. Now, with a Cyclops level of range, 3 squares is oftentimes enough, because he's got a 6 range, I believe. So you TK him for free 3 squares. And then I think he has sidestep or running shot off the start. So you've now gained 3, even if it's sidestep, 2 more squares. You get 5 square gain plus a 6. You've got an 11 square reach that could possibly do 4 damage for 50 points with Psychic Blast with an 11 attack. Or if you're bold, 5 damage with Psychic Blast with a 10 attack. There's a lot of potential in that Cyclops. And then if you use the free action TK, you can then follow up with a running shot from that Jean Grey as well. I believe she has Psychic Blast as part of her TK power. And she's got 18 defense, willpower. She's able to do this multiple times. There's a lot of potential and that's just kind of min-maxing the points on that one. There's also, I don't think the Age of Apocalypse one is necessarily bad, but I'm trying to min-max, and for a couple points less, and the potential on that Cyclops, I think it's bigger than we give it credit for, in my opinion. I think he also has leadership, and I think they share at least the X-Men keyword. So, Amber, your thoughts on Cyclopses and Jean Greys in this set?
I honestly haven't put too much thought into looking at them because I don't like those characters either.
And she's a casual, so she digs deep on the hatred. I remember my 3rd place team for Canadian Nationals included a Superman, and there's only one guy I hate more than Cyclops, and that's Superman. So I'm able to turn my hatred off. Yeah. Carry on, Amber.
No, I can't. But I don't know them well enough. I haven't really looked at. They are not characters that interested me enough to be like, hey, I wonder what these characters do. That being said, for a real Scott Jean combo, I actually really prefer the all new X-Men ones that came out of Uncanny X-Men with the Fast Forces Jean Grey, and I believe it was the main set Cyclops that did his sweeping blast and actually attacked everything within a triangle of him.
You can TK that out, do the triangle blast, and then TK him back.
See, I really liked that. That was the only Cyclops I remember looking at and be like, oh, I would play this figure. I like this Cyclops. I like this attack power.
Yeah.
But yeah, nothing from the set has actually jumped out for me in regards to those two specific characters. Oh no. Oh, he's having problems with his mic.
Mike's got mic problems?
Mike's got mic problems. Bam, Jason, bam.
What's a bam?
I
How
can't hear
much
you guys
more?
at all.
This whole show has been me vamping. There's only so much vamp I can do. I'm vamped out. It's funny, Noah Lake was saying that in here, the enemy of my enemy is my friend. Would you be willing to collaborate with Cyclops to take down Superman? Absolutely. Also worth mentioning, too, is every time I see the phrase, the enemy of my enemy is my friend, I am reminded of the Versus System card, the enemy of my enemy, which at one point hit $50 each. So my wallet irks and screams in pain whenever I see that phrase because of that card. It's just a word association thing.
Also, it's one of those things to point out with, like, comic-wise, is that Cyclops would actually be one of the people you'd kind of want on your side to take down Superman, because even though he's a glass cannon, even though he would basically get smushed if Superman came at him, he's a brilliant tactician and strategist and leader to the point where, like, he'd be like, oh, okay, I know exactly who to throw at Superman to make Superman die so that I don't have to.
And Nathaniel had a question here. Haven't you played Supes in each of the last two? No. I've played Superman in the one that I played against you. The last Canadian Nationals, I used Shifting Focus Deadpool and regretted every second of it. Oh, man. I've gone 0-3 in my life, but I think I went 1-3 this time. It was not good. It was not good.
I don't remember that team.
My team? Cable, Dupe, and Shifting Focus Deadpool
right,
with
okay.
Pandora's Box.
Right, because it wasn't a focus on Deadpool. It had Cable and Dupe on it.
Yeah. Also, apparently Nathaniel is falling asleep to my voice. You're welcome, Nathaniel. Apparently, I'm the new Kriparian because that's how I fall asleep. I watch Kriparian play Hearthstone. Let's let Mike. Mike, you got your camera issues fixed up, or your mic issues fixed up? No, he doesn't have his headphones on, so he can't hear me. You got your microphone in spot there? Click on him. Everything good? I'm asking for a thumbs up for those of you who can't see. There he goes. Uh-oh. Nope, we can't hear you. Check the wire. Technical issues. Oh, boy. Because this couldn't go perfectly well, right?
This has been one of those days, man.
Ensign Redshirt happened on Monday during Metal Lab too. Apparently, you're welcome. Okay.
Oh no, he can't hear us.
He can't hear us. Oh boy. Check everything. Slap it if you have to. Percussive maintenance. It works. Tiger Alchemist. How much has the new set changed your meta team? Well, from the get-go, I added Leech to it. If you guys have been watching my Metafix series where I'm affecting my team. As far as the ID cards are concerned, Harley Quinn has had its first effect on me, where I included the Zatanna ID card for sure to add to that. Though, to say the least, I feel like I'm multiple sets behind when I'm trying to pick up my teams right now, because I could have built the team that I'm working on right now like months ago. The one I'm focused on right now, I mean, it wouldn't have had the triples, but, you know.
That would have just been an ID card that called in another character.
Exactly. It would have been an ID card that called in like Zatanna, or it would have called in Nightwing, you know? So then I get support, and then I get Perplex, and I get Tony Zuko. Tony Zuko! Hey.
Oh, Tony's. Sorry, Pedro.
No, don't apologize to him. He also knows the strength of He's been on both sides of Tony Zuko. You don't have to apologize to him, to say the least. Oh. Can you hear us now, Mike? Thumbs up if you... Okay, so Mike can hear us now. Now the question is, can we hear you? Amber?
Yeah.
There we go!
All right. Yeah. All right. Sorry, guys.
It's okay.
Alrighty. Next question. I don't think we got a chance to talk about it last time. The bombshells. Have you played a theme team with them? Do you like playing them together as a bombshell theme team, or like after is it just like a sort of like a complementary type situation?
Well, both of us have two differing effects. Amber, you go first.
I actually
After the
last
washroom.
weekend played a bombshell theme team. What was it? 500 points?
It was, no, last week was 400 points.
400 points. So 400 points. I had Wonder Woman, Poison Ivy, Harley Quinn, Batgirl, and oh my gosh, why can't I think of the last one there? Okay, hold on. Wonder Woman, Harley Quinn, Poison Ivy, Batgirl. Shit. There's somebody else on my team, and I can't remember who it was. I took pictures. Hold on. Oh, it's Zatanna. Okay. And I ended up using it, and we've been having like lower attendance at our venue, so it's pretty much been playing round robins instead of Swiss because we've only had 4 people. So it's like, okay, we're gonna face everybody. So, and they ended up actually having really nice synergy, but it wasn't until like my second round after getting a little pep talk from Jason.
You said pep talk, I scolded you.
Yeah, I was being nice. But no, he scolded me on the fact that I also was at like the beginning of this bad cold that I've been going through. As if you guys can't tell that my voice is weird today. And I wasn't really paying attention to what I was doing my first round. But my next 2 rounds, I actually managed to properly use the bombshell tokens because I think with the bombshell tokens, you don't have to hit. You don't have to make a successful attack. You just have to attack. As long as you've been given the action to attack, you get a bombshell token. And then if you have 2, you can do a free close attack. And if you have Zatanna, she could do a free action to move around the bombshell tokens. So
Pedro's in the chat and caught us saying Zuko.
But yeah, so I was actually able to really effectively use that especially with the Wonder Woman having Indomitable. So she's okay to have 2 tokens and then the extra attack, and also with the Batgirl who has the Steel Energy, where if she's pushing and she ends up hitting, then she Steel Energies and pushes, and it equals each other out as long as you're on a click that you can do that with, because if you're top dial, you can't. No, actually, they're both after resolutions now, so I think you can do that properly now.
How's that?
The Steel Energy and the healing used to not work with vampire dials because it used to be Steel Energy used to be instantaneously. Or is Steel Energy is after resolutions now, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, and so is pushing. So you can actually do that properly now. Because before with vampire dials, because Steel Energy was automatic, you would Steel Energy, heal, but you're on top dial, and then take a push. But now you can do that properly.
It actually still in the end doesn't matter. I was successful with the bombshells myself because I play crazy, and what my goal was every time. Batgirl goes forward with her hypersonic. She hits, she attacks, she sticks around, but that's usually on the second action token because every action she's supposed to be making an attack. I think I had Mirror on my team too, and I think I was playing a bigger team than Amber was, so I had 100 points to spend on Mirror. I needed some TK, whatever. Right? It didn't matter to me. So what would happen is I don't think I used Zatanna on my team. I think I relied on Theme Proud, to be honest. So Batgirl will go forward. She would attack, go back. Then Batgirl will go forward again. She would attack. She's got a second action token, and she's got a second bombshell token. Second bombshell token would be used to attack. Now both attacks, as long as they're hitting, are getting some Steel Energy off of them. So I heal. Take the push, but then I get the second attack to heal, and that one is a free action, so I'd be healing off of that bombshell attack because it doesn't matter what kind of attack you make with steel energy. It just triggers off of an attack. It's kind of like precision strike in that way. So, and yeah, it ended up going quite well for me, to be brutally honest. There was one game I can say where my opponent, Aubrey, locally, is usually my kryptonite, and he's had some bad dice rolls against me lately that have just been costing him games. And part of me laughs at it because it's karmic, because I always used to call his shots and say, you're going to hit this, you're going to hit this, you're going to hit this. I'm going to shape change this. See? I used to call my shots against him. Now I can't call it my shots against him, and I think karma is it's because I always call my shots negatively. Is the problem? I call my shots accurately negatively. It's pretty brutal. But yeah, I ended up winning. I think I ended up getting a booster gold with my bombshell team.
Possibly.
Yes. Oh, and you know what it was? It was Alexis built my team, so it wasn't the bombshell team. I had Giganta on my team. That's why.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, that was the day my daughter built my team. So it was bombshells and Giganta.
That makes sense.
That's why I won that day, because in the sealed for WKOs, Giganta was a mainstay of one of my teams, and she is just so strong. You just lead with her on the attack. You do the goal with Giganta is to do 100 points worth of damage, and you win because she's 90 points. So you charge, you move forward, and then you charge, and that charge hits an attack, and then you do that extra damage, and then you take that damage, whatever. You're now colossal. You made an extra attack with the extra stats that you get from the Secret Six. And then on the next turn, when you're double tokened, you colossal stamina. You make the attack, and then you flurry. You got 3 attacks in a single turn. It's what you can do with Giganta is insane. Or you can attempt to survive once you get the second action token, because I believe she's indomitable. She's indomitable if I remember correctly. I might be wrong. So bear with me on this one. But then you get your second action, your +1 stats from the Secret Six trait. And then on that next turn, that's when you trigger, do 1 damage to her after the attack, and then you have flurry, and then you flurry with the colossal stamina to take another damage. You've taken 3 damage, but hopefully you've done a lot more. So, anyway, I got on a tangent of Giganta. Bombshells are cool. The bombshells were an important part of the team that I was playing, because they were most of the team, because my daughter liked the look of them too. It's like, where are all the bomb girls?
Yeah, well, I had her play a bombshell team the last time we did a training video.
She really likes it.
Yeah.
She digs them. So
I'll probably use those figures to teach her powers, to keep her going with figures that she likes.
When do we have a?
We do not. We have not. Once I get a time where I can sit down with my daughter and play, because that has not been easy to arrange lately.
You're gonna have a couple things to do this weekend.
Yeah.
All right.
Unfortunately, because my sons have been big butts and everybody has been sick lately.
The skeets feel so dirty because of what I had to. What I did do on the day I played them. All right.
Alrighty, so I made sure to. I made sure to put a couple rules questions in here this month. All right, so I also noticed I was looking at Kid Gladiator, and the wording on it kind of confused me. So I'll give you a quick second to, if you want to bring him up on AC Realms there. Like Kid Gladiator.
Kid Gladiator, AC Realms, racing. Pretty good this. He's a super rare, right? Kid Gladiator. Okay, which one?
Okay, the one, I guess the one down the. I didn't write it down. One moment. I'll look at him real quick because the wording on it was a little confusing as far as the protected outwit or something like that.
The protected outwit, the defense power on the first 3 clicks there?
Yeah, that one there. Is this when
Impervious Kid Gladiator has protected outwit, but only from opposing characters of less points?
Yes, that's the one. Yeah, that's the one.
Okay. So the trick on this one is very simple. It's 120 points.
Mhm.
If they have outwit and they are less than 120 points, they can't outwit them. All there is to it.
No, okay. Yeah, that's what I was
Yeah,
looking
we've
at. Yeah.
actually seen this before before the rules, but it would have been worded as characters 100 or 20 points less can't outwit this character.
Yeah.
Okay, that sounds simple enough. Alrighty.
Yeah, once you actually get into it, it's like the wording seems weird, but then when it gets explained, it's like, oh, well, why didn't they just say that?
Outwit, comma, but only from opposing characters of less
Yeah.
points. Okay. Alright, scratch that one off. Okay. Okay.
Husk is a great character, according to Nathaniel. Had her against Kid Gladiator, Marvel Girl, and a Hyper 6 range figure. She held her own. Well, of course, you get to choose defense powers. And you made tons of shape change rolls. That's not the character winning, Nathaniel. That's the dice winning.
Oh, Husk. No, when it comes down to like mutant powers that you could have, Husk has got to be your like really just gross power to have, and probably painful.
Didn't they cover that in Wolverine and the X-Men, where it's just like, oh my god, she keeps leaving her disgusting skin all over the place?
Yeah, like she literally rips her skin off every time to reveal a new form underneath, and it's like, where's the skin going, Paige? What are you doing with it?
Yeah,
wasn't Toad like collecting it?
Toad was collecting it, and he fell in love with her and stuff. Alright. Back to you, Mike.
Comics are weird.
Comics are weird.
Alrighty, so another rules question regarding the Marvel Knights traits. Alright, so if it says that you can choose that all Marvel Knights characters with this trait are a minimum of 10, does that mean they're immune to perplex down? Like if it says, like they have a minimum of 10, that's it.
Okay.
Or is it?
The rule of minimums, this is actually a pretty simple one, Amber, if you want to just click back on us here. When you choose that trait where it says characters with this trait get have a minimum attack of 10, what that means is after determining all the attack, perplex, etc., 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 if the number ends up being below 10, it becomes 10. So if they perplex you down, the rule of minimum states after everything is determined, then it back to 10. So as an example, let's say you have Punisher here, one of the Punishers, on his third click with 10 attack. And then your opponent takes Perplex and perplex it down 3 times. And then you go into your turn, you've got a 7 attack. Well, no, you've got a 10 attack. Because the rule of minimum states, after determining everything, if you don't reach the minimum, you become the minimum. It's not a replacement. Like it gets confusing because a lot of people see that as a replacement. It's not a replacement. It's a minimum. So anybody perplexing below 10 is wasting their time.
It's like how a range character using prob or outwit or perplex. Sure, you could perplex that power or their range down, but that power is always going to work at 6. Character that has no range will still be able to use those powers at 6 range. Character with 5 range can use those powers at 6 range. So no matter what you're doing to that figure, it'll always have a 10 attack, or at least a bare minimum of 10 attack. Jason's gone digging.
Gone digging. I'm just going to double check to make sure we're correct on that one. Golden Silver rules.
That was the way it was before they changed the rule book. So now we have to double check to make sure they didn't change that in the new rule book.
Rule of minimums and maximums. If an effect says that a value after the combat value has a minimum value and the final result of calculating that value would be less, use that minimum value instead. If an effect says that a value, often a common value, has a maximum value, and the final result of calculating that value would be greater, use that maximum instead. In both cases, all replacements, modifiers, and increases and decreases continue to apply, and only the final result of the calculation is changed. When calculating a value of minimum or maximum is the last thing applied to the result. Never apply in the middle of a calculation. Boom. There it is. So I don't care how much you perplex down my attack. If I chose a minimum 10, I'm getting a 10 attack at the least. Now, if you go over that, by all means, that's fine. Remember, minimums, maximums. All right. Mike. Back to Mike. It's weird. I'm looking everywhere for questions.
All right, we're getting down to the last couple here that I have on. All right, so can the Harvey and Ivy duo pick up the Harley hammer? Like,
I can't see why they wouldn't be able to. Is there something where it says they can't be equipped?
No, I guess I just never really played the duo thing picking up.
We are not a duo figure.
Yeah, that's the thing. Duo figures are no longer a thing. So just because there's two figures on the base, doesn't necessarily mean it's a duo figure. Harley and Ivy, for all intents and purposes, are a single standard figure that happen to be called Harley Ivy and just happen to have a downloadable. Everything else about them is a standard figure, therefore they can be equipped full form.
Now, had they been a duo figure, which has been phased out and is now part of the past rules for the rule books,
and it's so close to being a Golden Age problem,
they would not be allowed to equip because they would not be considered a standard character. But because the new duos like Harley and Ivy and Power Man and Iron Fist are not actually duo figures denoted by the double fist symbol on their dial, they are considered just regular standard characters.
Yep. So, hope that helps.
Okay. Because then you'd be giving a character a quake and like a 2 reach too, I guess. So I wonder if it would. Yeah, and I also noticed too that the character had the calculator, so it can copy a trait or something like that. Is there a team ability that you would recommend copying to this Harley and Ivy?
Well.
Let's see, what are their keywords? Arkham Asylum, Gotham City Sirens, Gotham City Underworld. If you're going on a theme team, there aren't too many.
Are you out of your mind?
Where are they getting the bat? Who's going to give them the Batman team?
I don't know. Pick one of the 8 Gotham City Sirens that have the Batman team ability. Or the 8 scientists.
Oh, scientists, maybe. They're going to say the Sirens aren't. It's Catwoman, Harley, and Ivy. Those are the Sirens.
When did that happen? Okay. There we go. Boom.
All right, fine. I'm sorry that the gravity feed Catwoman from the Batman set has the Batman ally team. Jason has proven me wrong.
Because you're already playing Golden Age if you're using that keyword to build a team.
True.
You have to dig deep on the scientist one. Give me a second. Because I just clicked on scientist and then I realized, I made a terrible mistake. Because if you just click on it, it's Golden Age.
Gotham City Underworld is probably going to get you the Gotham Underworld team ability.
Is that copyable? That's copyable.
Yeah,
Carry's not bad.
Carry.
There's
there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
I mean, we are basing this on actually building them on a theme team. If you're just throwing them on a team, hell, copy anything that's not copyable.
That is copyable. Don't tell him to
not
cheat.
Copyable.
Yeah, I'll give them
I
mystics.
don't English well, if you guys haven't noticed. Another reason why I'm not on the Meta Lab.
What, you think my guys have you listened to the Metal Lab?
No, actually, I don't.
They don't English well either. Look, you can get the PD team ability from the corrupt GCPD officer.
Yes.
You can get okay, they've already got the Batman enemy team ability, and the problem is so many of these guys already have the Batman enemy team ability. What the hell?
Pretty much all they have. Batman enemy and calculator. That's what you're gonna get out of Batman bad guys.
Yeah, I know.
Ooh, what's the keywords on the Sinestro Joker from Elseworlds?
Well, it's
Oh, he only has Batman enemy.
yeah. You're trying to get the Green Lantern team ability on. You can get the Green Lantern team ability on this character anyway if you just put a Green Lantern on the team.
I was hoping for a Sinestro.
You can get the Teen Titans courtesy of the Gotham City Underworld if you use the Joker's daughter figure. You can get Superman enemy if you include this figure with Lex and Joker, and we're still keeping the theme teams here. And if you go beyond theme team, because that's generally the case, I mean, if you're focusing on this figure being the mainstay of your team, include her with some X-Men and heal her up. Include her with some smaller point wild cards and copy all kinds of nonsense. There's an
What
old.
are her attack?
She's under
I was
35
gonna say
points.
her stats aren't actually, because I was thinking maybe one of the ones that channel either defense or attack, but her stats are they are stats.
They're fine.
Are actually
Oh
pretty
my
good.
God, Amber, today.
But you know what? I'm gonna stop talking.
How about a JSA guy and increase your stats against some specific things? So, for instance, if you use a Spectre, you can get, I think it's Super Senses. If you use Dr. Fate, you can get +1 defense against range, and he's got an 18 defense. So you share the 18 defense, you got +1. No, Dr. Fate is probability control, never mind. Probability control is not a bad power, though. You know what I mean? And then you perplex up her stats. There's a lot of possibilities with a character that's a wild card. It's just saying this team ability is the best is a fallacy, to say the least. But saying if you find the right team ability to work with it, use it, great. And there's a lot of the X-Men trainees and the the X-students and the X-trainees, they'll have the X-Men team ability. They're 25 points or 15 points. It doesn't matter. You've got the X-Men team ability, get multiple wild cards, and they're just a source of the X-Men team ability. Because that's an old school strategy going way back in the day, where you used to use a bunch of small figures with really cool team abilities, and you should just share the team abilities amongst all your wild cards. The problem is the current way that wild cards work now, so you can only choose a team ability once per turn.
Yeah.
Because it's just a flat out free without the you can do it as many times as you want on a turn thing. So, but you can't copy Mystics anymore, so that's off the table.
It's actually kind of nice.
It would have been the first thing I said. It's like, just copy Mystics and be fine with yourself.
Yeah.
But you can't do that anymore.
I'm actually really happy about it.
I'm very happy about that. Can't wait to be in a major tournament and watch a guy go, I'm going to copy Mystics. You can't. How long you been doing that? How long you been cheating,
Which
son?
round is this? Yeah, there was plenty of times at Worlds being like, what round is this? How long have you been doing this?
Yeah, I had a couple of those too. Actually, no, I didn't. Worlds was pretty good for me. Everybody was kind of on the level. I had a couple of Hail Marys at Worlds, so I'm not gonna lie. There was some things that I did where it's just like, oh, is this really gonna? Am I gonna? Yeah, okay, this. Pulled that off. Oh boy. Or my opponents would miss, and it's like, wow, so this game is going to go one of two ways, and you needed to do that. Since you didn't do that, I can now do this. And that was Worlds last year. It was something else. Anyway. Just don't use Brotherhood, JLA, or Avengers anymore. They're trash.
Yeah.
What do you need with +1 movement for a specific move action? It's not like you get it for charge. If you get it for charge or running shot, it would be so
much better. But no.
It's so worthless. Break defenders, break JSA. Use those. Use quality team abilities. I'm sorry.
Talk.
I'm rambling. You can interrupt me at any time. Here, Mike. Please interrupt me.
Alrighty. So that just for silliness' sake, is Stompa the new Signal Man in regards to like here's where I'm getting at. I have about like 15 or 16 copies of Signal Man. Every time I played a sealed, I always got his character. I brought brought a brick of Harley like that, and played a couple sealeds like that. I have out the wazoo with Stompa. She seems, the proliferation of that character, or at least in my area, is so huge. Like I don't know if you guys have seen her quite a bit up there where you guys play.
Based solely on commonality, sure. I ended up playing 2 of them in one tournament. Well,
Yeah.
the one WKO I didn't win. Based on quality of character, though, another story. Stompa, way better than Signalman. Way better. The ability to get outwit and then charge, attack, follow up with a quake. If you line up that single target, like you line it up so you're only adjacent to one character, you make that attack, you hit, you can follow up with a quake on that after having outwitted a defense power. So, yeah, Signal Man, if you push, you get mind control and you get bonuses against this combat symbol.
Aubrey's team last week have a Signal Man.
Aubrey's team last week did have a Signal Man.
It was a weird team.
It was a secrets. I believe it was a Secret Society of Villains, super villains. So I liked it. I love that team ability or that keyword. Very cool team. I apologize. Was it last week or the week? No, that was 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
2 weeks ago, he had.
So it was my Star Sapphire team that he went up against, and then
last week he wasn't there.
Energy exploded a bunch of mystics without realizing it.
Amber. At least they weren't copying mystics.
No, it wasn't like. You know what the problem with that was? Even though, like, because we were saying that, like, nobody had really brought a fun team for that tournament. And, like, I tried.
Everybody wanted Skeets.
No, it wasn't even that. Like, I wasn't even trying to build a try-hard team. It was that I went to my Golden Age collection. I wanted to do the Fatal 5. I couldn't find my cards for them. So I could only find the cards for 2 characters. So I'm like, okay, I'm not going to build that. I'm like, okay, what else do I have in my Golden Age collection that I haven't played in a long time? I'm going to play Excalibur. I'm like, okay, I can't get Excalibur to fit into the amount of points that the tournament was. So I'm like, okay, well now, and I'm not going to play the team base, so now I can't play Excalibur. And then I'm like, okay, so I'm looking through my thing, I'm like, what else? I'm like, fine, I'll just play Star Sapphires.
All pink everything.
So then I played a Star Sapphire team without really even thinking about the fact that all the Star Sapphires on their first click, other than Fatality, has Shape Change Mystics. And it's like they wasn't supposed to be a try-hard team. It was just I made a Star Sapphire theme team. It just happened to be that the War of Light Star Sapphires were given Shape Change Mystics. And they don't have it their whole dials. It's not like it's a trait. It's power. It's a power that can be outwitted too. So
you were though the one person who came closest to killing my 100-point Carnage.
Yep. But I went 0-3 in that tournament. That's actually the worst I've done in the local tournaments lately. Was 0-3.
Because you're playing Golden Age figures in a Golden Age tournament. You don't do that.
I know. Oh, it's silly
Don't
me.
you know anything about power creep? Come on, Amber.
How dare I? It's that's actually the trap I've been getting into lately. Other than last week where I played the bombshells because I really wanted to play bombshells. It's like, oh, it's Golden Age. Let's pull out the Golden Age collection.
Wah, wah. All right. Mr. Michael.
Alrighty, so last question, I kind of debated on whether or not to use this or not, but there was something else I've been thinking about regarding the whole HeroClix community. That last week there was a kid that showed up, and mainly the Thursday night, since it's a school night, we don't have very many kids show up during school night, but it's most of us adults there, and I think he was in the 9th grade, and he hasn't been playing for very long. He, I guess, just wanted to go and try and play with his collection and everything like that. And so I was kind of like, I got really uncomfortable, sort of playing with him. We was a how do I explain? I guess we ended up doing like a battle royale format and stuff like that. It was only for like maybe a half hour or so, and his parents just dropped him off and like, okay, we'll be back in a little while. And it's like, okay, you really gonna trust this, this kid here with all of this grown men and everything like it? So I wanted to get your guys' opinions on whether or not the like community should start, like, I don't want to say like segregating tournaments to, or like how, if you're going to be a judge, okay, this is going to be the 18 and under guys here, and then because I think like not only are we there in the store, there's also, I noticed that there's either Hearthstone or either another deck card game. They have this like obviously like 11, 12-year-old girl playing with some of these other guys and stuff like that. It's like it's just something I noticed. It's something that I'm certainly that we're all going to have to come to start talking about this issue. Like that should there be rules in our community? Should there be more rules in tabletop gaming in general? Like that, given that all the things that go on in this world nowadays. And I'm sorry, that was my little rant and stuff like that. But and that was a long question, but I wanted to get your thoughts on whether or not it's something we're all going to have to address someday pretty soon.
So ultimately, the question is, we need to kids league and big boys league.
Yeah, pretty much.
We don't have the player base for that. We have a player base in HeroClix that maybe numbers in the thousands. We also are a game that markets to 14 plus, I believe, is what's on the box.
Yeah.
So we don't really market the game. HeroClix doesn't really get marketed to children. It's because it's very complex. There's a lot of rules to it. Now, granted, I'm not saying children can't comprehend the game. Isaac kicked a bunch of people's butts last year, 2 years ago. 2 years ago. And
at the time he was like 10.
He can't legally drink yet. So I couldn't buy him a beer to celebrate. I think they said they went out for milkshakes afterwards.
Aww.
Very cool. At that age, that's what I'd be happy with a milkshake, to be really honest. He's probably set for at least some part of his college education. Anyway, that said, we don't have the player base. We don't have the player focus on doing a juniors league for this game, because juniors, as far as the game set of rules is concerned, this is not Pokemon. This is not Yu-Gi-Oh! There's not basic. This is not a basic game in any way, shape, or form. Even in its most basic form, I don't think HeroClix was manageable to youth. There's so many intricacies to the idea of elevation, to the idea of range and lines of fire, all that kind of stuff. So I don't think there's any kind of reality or realistic approach to saying we got to have a juniors league. Let the kids play if they can handle it, right?
Definitely not nowadays. Like I remember when I first started playing, like I was only 18 myself, but half of our player base were kids.
What, in Image Collections?
Yeah,
because
Jocelyn and Billy and Brandon and the other Brandon, like literally half of our player base were kids.
Because we needed players in the game so badly. And the hockey parents had no idea what to do with their kids on a Saturday morning while I walked through Streetsville. That is why we had a huge kid player base of that game.
That actually makes a lot of sense for Billy and Brandon.
Yes. Oh, yeah. Billy and Brandon are huge hockey kids.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we attracted some kids. They never won. They always played the same teams, and they were like, I'm playing my favorite character. And I always took it easy on them to a certain degree. Not gonna lie. There were times where I was just like, yeah, whatever, I'm gonna let you win, because I just didn't care about the prize or something like that, or I just been on a winning streak and I spent a couple weeks playing dirt and evil teams. When you want to be competitive, sometimes you need to find you need things like the Rock and WKOs and something to just get it all out. Because if not, then you're just bullying people at a local venue, and that was my early days of HeroClix, just bullying locally. I'm definitely humbled nowadays as far as how I do with the game of HeroClix. I'm too stubborn to be a world champion ever. Probably too stubborn to be a Canadian champion, to be brutally honest. It's not without effort. I will show up. I will try. I will be one of those speed bumps you got to get across. Howard Brock had to get through me to become a world champion. You know what I mean? So, anyway, long story short, it's because Yu-Gi-Oh! And Pokemon are marketed to children. I mean, they have a cartoon to sell the goddamn things. Kids do get attracted to comic book characters, but comic book characters just happen to be the license that HeroClix sits on. I can't believe how long HeroClix has lasted on a superhero license. It baffles the brain that it's been able to last this long as a licensed game. I feel like there's only a couple of years left of this game, to be brutally honest. And so far, so good. But the player base is too small, and the number of young people playing this game, it's not worth separating into a juniors league that Isaac will just stomp on a regular basis. It's just not fair. And Bree, anything you want to add to that?
I don't understand what the concern is. Is it just that is it like the caliber of player that you're like, oh, these grown men are stomping all over these kids? Or is it that you're like, oh my God, this child shouldn't be exposed to grown men?
Or they shouldn't be hearing the language I'm using.
I was more geared toward it's a very touchy subject. But I was kind of angling it toward the second part of our point there. Yeah.
I'm just going to point out too that a 14-year-old kid has heard words you haven't heard yet.
Which actually, we have a young guy that has actually been coming out a lot more regularly, and he is 13, I believe.
That's only 13?
Yeah.
Wow.
13, 14. And the past weekend, he was out with us, and one of our buddies, Aiden, was just like, oh, I'm sorry, I shouldn't be saying this. And I'm like, Aiden. And I turned to Matt, and I'm like, Matt, how old are you? And he's like, oh, I'm 13. I'm like, he's heard worse. And he's like, yeah, I have. And I'm like, trust me,
said worse.
He's a 13-year-old boy. We're not watching our language around him. Now, the 5-year-old kid across at the other table, maybe, yeah, we should be watching our language for. The 13-year-old kid, no, he could probably school us when it comes to the language department.
Sometimes when there's a Yu-Gi-Oh! And HeroClix crossover as far as scheduling is concerned, I get a little bit more careful about what I say, but for the most part, I've heard some of the kids on the Yu-Gi-Oh! Side of things, they're not kids, it turns out, also. And I have heard, and I'm going to use naughty language now, so I'm just going to demonetize the video completely. I've heard some shit from some of these guys, man. So my greater morals are now in question as far as what I've seen and heard. And that's from the game of Yu-Gi-Oh! Marketed towards kids. So HeroClix players in the game of HeroClix, we're not ruining the kids any more than you can possibly imagine. Games that actually have junior leagues like Pokemon, that's where kids are getting ruined. Because they can junior league all they want. That's just for the majors. At the local store level, the adults still play with them. And, when you see an adult just cursing his way right from the table after losing to a 7-year-old, 8-year-old kid who had like 4 EXs on the board, all you can do is sit back and laugh. Look, that's how Pokemon had its problems as far as deck building is concerned. When our daughter, within the first time we gave her a chance, like, build your own deck, and she just went EX crazy. I was like, oh, yeah, you could just do that, can't you? Yeah, okay, why, what? All right, whatever.
Now, also in the fact that, like, me and Jason are parents, And at some point, our kids do come out with us. And it's to the point where, yeah, we'll watch our language in front of the kids. But also, our daughter is now 9. She's getting a little bit older. She's getting a little more mature on things. And I'm more aware of what she's being exposed to anyway. So it's more or less someone will swear and we'll turn to be like, okay, Lex, don't repeat what they said. But I'm not going to shield you from hearing it anymore.
In fact, she now knows the words I'm going to say that to. Right turn is like, Alexis, yeah, I won't say that.
Yeah. She knows it. So she's a good kid.
But she's saying it.
Oh, she's saying it.
She's saying it when we're not listening.
Oh, she absolutely is. I caught her the other day. We were playing video games up in my room. And this is like months and months ago. And I'm like, because in our room she's sitting on the end of my bed and I'm sitting at the front of my bed and I'm reading or whatever and she's playing video games. And her character dies. And she's like, oh, shit. And I'm like, Alexis. She's like, oh, I forgot you were there.
I forgot you were there. Like, that's a good excuse, right?
And I'm like, all right, fine. Just don't say it in front of me again. Like, I can't. She's a kid at this point. She's getting older. She's being exposed to whatever it is at school and the playground. Like, I've heard some things from those kids in the playground. It's like, as long as I'm not hearing her say it, I can't stop her from saying it when I'm not there. So, yeah, when it comes to having kids around, like, it's all also how their parents are going to manage it when they come home.
At this point in the state of the game, I don't care how old they are. Just get some more goddamn players in this game.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's very apparent, and I'm going to mention another cast that I've witnessed. Mr. Clix Fix had a whole episode on how WizKids marketing is terrible. It's like, yeah, they don't have a marketing budget. Their marketing budget is basically the unboxings that you witness. So even at a retail level, their marketing budget is maybe we do an unboxing of a brick. Scott does an unboxing of a brick. Figures.com. Nope, they didn't do an unboxing. Comicbook.com got an unboxing. 3 bricks. Canadian dollars. We're going to put that in Canadian dollars. That's like $375. That is not a lot of money. A lot of other places got like pre-release previews. That's a Photoshop, man. That was like 10 seconds on the marketing people. Like, they don't have anything that even comes close to resembling a marketing budget. And like, you know, when a small company is doing that, like, they can't do what we need them to do for marketing. It's on us if we want this game to be alive to kind of keep it alive. And honestly, we have been.
Yeah.
I cannot believe how long this game has survived with what WizKids has been able to do with it. And
they're very much relying on viral marketing. Because like I said, they take a well-known actor like Scott Porter, they throw him a brick, he goes up to his buddy's studio in North Hollywood, and he's like, hey guys, filming on my own iPhone, let me use your studio for half an hour that it takes him to film an entire brick unboxing. And they're like, okay, cool guys, I'm gonna send these videos off to WizKids, and then WizKids edits them.
I don't know who edits some of WizKids. They're good. I gotta give them credit. They're really good at their editing.
And it's like, okay, cool. That was like, I don't know if they do anything else for Scott on top of just handing him a brick. But
I think he's content with the brick. That's the thing. Yeah. We're content with the brick. We don't ask for any extra income. We get the extra income from the views that we get from the unboxing.
Actually, one of the greatest things for them was the fact that Hyper RPG opened their own studio up in North Hollywood, and the fact that he just drives up there and be like, hey buddies, I'm gonna use your studio for the day. Because the unboxings we were getting before that, where he was bringing on other actors and other creatives, the one that he did in his own local store, like, those came out late because there were other certain things that needed to be cleared. There was one, I think it was the Deadpool. One of the unboxings came out like after the set came out.
That was Avengers Assemble.
Yeah, because they had to clear who he had in the video. Mm-hmm. And they had to get clearance from, because instead of WizKids releasing it, Marvel.com released it. Mm-hmm. So it was on Marvel to release it, and they released it late. And it was like, Marvel, what are you doing?
We weren't even getting unboxings by then, and we were unboxing with our own product at that point, and we got our unboxing out before Scott.
Yeah, and so I mean, like it's even better for them now that he just goes up to Hyper RPG and is like, okay, cool, I'm doing this. But like that is it. That is their marketing.
That's all they got.
And when it comes down to it, like Scott plays the game. We've been doing this YouTube channel for like almost 5 years. We play the game. Scott Rubin, who runs figures.com, he used to work for WizKids. So like they have that connection there. And then like comicbook.com, I don't know the origins of that connection, but they're a pop culture comic.
They're big
journalists.
enough. They're big
like when it comes down to it. So it's like, okay, you take these people that, you know, are integrated into the community and let them do the marketing for us.
So the long and the short of it is there is no marketing budget. We are the marketing team. We are the street team, as it were. We got to get more players in the game somehow because, unfortunately, the resources don't exist on WizKid's side to do it.
So trying to segregate kids is not going to work.
No.
To try and bring that back to full circle.
Bring them in. In fact, get him to teach his father how to play the game, his mother, his sister, whatever. His
older brother, buddies from school.
Teacher. Whatever it takes, we need the players in this game. If we want this game in any way, shape, or form to survive. We got to maintain a level of positivity about the game in order to do that. And that's, you know, that's one of those things. It's like, if you can't kind of go and say, come play this game, if you don't have that kind of attitude, you're not helping the situation, right? You got to have the attitude of, come on in, come play the game, because, you know, they'll get a marketing budget if we can get a player base for the game. Because they used to have a marketing budget. They used to advertise in comics. They used to have posters and all that kind of stuff. And
they had a commercial once.
Is on decline. We got to get it up to get them to help us. We help them, they help us. It's a more symbiotic relationship than anybody can possibly understand at this point. So let that kid in, bring him in, snuggle him, keep him calm, give him some commons, give him some uncommons, give him some rares, give him your trash super rares. I don't care.
If you're worried about dropping F-bombs, don't.
Drop them.
Like,
he'll probably be like,
just
yeah,
do it.
Fuck yeah.
And when it comes down to it, it's on his parents, not on you guys. If they're gonna drop him off there and walk away for a couple of hours and then pick him up, and then he gets in trouble for the language that he uses at home, like, it's like, okay, then, like, that's on you to not drop your kid off there. Or to talk to him about not swearing in front of his parents. Like, you can't control a public space where there's going to be other people. You can't control other people. You just have to monitor how kids absorb what they're being exposed to and how they react to it. This is now all me just going actually mom brain.
Stop.
And
Don't
being
teach,
parenting.
don't teach people how to parent.
No, I should not be teaching people how to parent. But God, I'm
They
so
hate
mad
that. They hate that.
But yeah, when it comes down to it, you do what you feel is comfortable for you, but don't like shun the kid because it's like, oh my God, there's this kid in the middle of a whole bunch of 30-year-old men.
Honestly, like the first year I met Isaac, I was a little bit more watchful of my language. Now I tell Isaac to go fuck people up.
Yeah, you tell him to go make people cry.
It's like, see that guy? Fuck his life up. Hey, Ed, what's up? Oh, man. And then it turns out I'm against him. It's like, uh-oh, what have I done? What have I done
It's
to
like,
myself?
Jason, I'm just following your advice.
Yeah. That's great. My kids love it. Anyway, long story short, get people in the game. Don't care how old they are right now. Just get more peoples. We need the peoples, man. Because honestly,
And build that younger generation to keep the game going.
Yeah. Absolutely. All right. Anything else, Mike?
Nope, that was my last question.
All right. I think we've ranted enough then.
Yeah.
Ranted, complained,
Gone
explained, gone insane, bitched, whined, moaned, salted your fries, salted myself, made my floor nice and ice-free from all the salt. Talked about nothing, talked about something. It's been one heck of a patron hangout that we managed to make work without any patrons. Mike, thank you very much for showing up. Thank you guys for keeping it live in the chat. Nolan Lake wants to know, any ideas for an animal? Well, he's not a patron. Sorry, Nolan. Once patrons come to the patron hangout, you don't get your questions answered anymore. Speaking of which, if you want to become a patron, check us out at patreon.com/marriedwithclix. Help us come to the project of running an all-common league. The goal is to get as many stores running as possible and rewarding stores for more people showing up. We do plan on eventually getting a prize pool together for it and keeping track of the league and keeping track of what's winning and what's not. So in case we have to keep an eye on, what needs to be dealt with. Long story short, that's how you get on here. Get on the Patreon. $10 gets you action tokens on a regular basis. In addition to which, you get the $5 reward, which is early access to any of our non-live content, as well as any valuation below or above. You get access to this patron hangout and our patron Discord, which is half of where we're finding questions. The other half is in the live chat, but the live chat, you don't get as much attention on the patron hangout. So thanks again to our patrons for keeping the lights on in the show, keeping the cameras rolling. I look forward to doing as much filmed content as I possibly can over the next couple months. I do apologize to everybody for my future absences in tournaments and in the Metal Lab as work is ramping. Announcement was made this week, and I'm dead till October. So have a good one, everybody, and see you guys next month for our next patron hangout, which will be March the 2nd. Oh yeah, that's right. February, March kind of line up, so March the 2nd.
Alrighty.
That's before WKO, I'm sure of it. Good night, everybody.